I'm Jen.
And I'm Steve-O.
From Two Can Travel.
And so can you.
Today we're going to tell you 10 of the best tricks we know for finding cheap flight deals that we've learned in 11 years of traveling the world.
We'll also tell you about some of the very dumb and very expensive mistakes that we've made.
Let's get into it.
Tip number 1, be flexible with your destination.
This might sound strange for tip number 1, but it could change your life and take you to places you never dreamed of going.
Instead of basing your trip around a specific destination, start by looking for the best flight deals out of the airports nearest to you.
There are 3 websites we like to use: Skyscanner, Momondo, and Google Flights. Skyscanner has an everywhere option, and Momondo has an anywhere option. Type in the airport you want to travel from and choose your travel dates.
The website will show you all of the available flight destinations ranked by price from lowest to highest. Google Flights has a similar option where you can enter multiple departure airports, and then they'll show you the best deals out of the airports close to you.
Being flexible with your destination lets you see the cheapest places you can go, and you might end up going someplace you never thought of.
Another great option if you're based in the US is Scott's Cheap Flights. You give them your home airport and they scour the internet looking for the best deals and send them directly to your inbox, all for free.
They also offer premium memberships, which show you even more deals, and mistake fares, which could give you up to 90% off the regular price of flights.
There's also an elite membership with even more perks like business and first class ticket deals.
This video isn't sponsored, but we'll link to all of the resources and websites we mentioned down in the description box. Tip number 2, find mistake fares.
Mistake fares happen when an airline makes a, you guessed it, mistake, and the fare is much cheaper than it normally would be. These things can happen when they forget to add something like a fuel surcharge, or they forget to carry the one when converting currencies. Math is hard, you guys.
Mistake fares only last until the mistake is discovered, which is sometimes a few hours or several days, so you have to act quickly. These mistake fare flights could be going to anywhere from anywhere, so you have to get lucky. If you want to find a deal like this, you need to be checking regularly.
The best website we found for finding mistake fares is called Secret Flying. There's no sign up required, it's totally free, so start searching.
Tip number 3, be flexible with your dates.
Weekday flights, usually Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, are the cheapest days to fly. This isn't always the case. Those days might be holidays, but it usually holds true.
Now that doesn't mean you need to book your flight on a weekday, but rather that the flight itself is on one of those weekdays.
Knowledge.
You can also use an app called Hopper, which tracks the cost of airline tickets and can help you find the best day to fly. It's cheaper to fly at certain times of the year depending on the destination, usually right before or right after that destination's peak season. That's known as the shoulder season.
Why? We don't know. For example, the peak season in Southeast Asia is between November and February when the weather is drier and cooler. So the shoulder season would be September, October, and March and April.
If you're willing to travel during the shoulder season, then not only will flights be cheaper, but accommodation will be cheaper as well, and there will be fewer tourists.
Make sure to research if there are any holidays in your destination on your travel dates. Flights will be a lot more expensive if you try to travel over the holidays like Christmas or Lunar New Year, and accommodation is going to be really expensive as well.
As you're searching for flights and playing around with dates, be sure not to open too many tabs and confuse yourself because you might accidentally book for the wrong dates.
Remember when we told you that we've made some big mistakes? On July 3rd, 2018, we were flying from Bangkok to LA. We had this trip planned for a long time. We were very excited to get home to see our families for the 4th of July. And when we got to the airport, we checked our tickets and realized we had missed our flight by a month. We had booked for June 3rd, not July 3rd. We still have no idea how we made such a stupid mistake, and last-minute tickets from Bangkok to LA were not cheap.
But we made it home and we got to see the fireworks with our families, so it all worked out in the end, but we just really want to emphasize that you double check your dates before you book.
Don't be like us.
Tip number 4, don't be afraid of the budget airlines.
When it comes to booking with the budget airlines, you need to decide which is more important to you, time or money. Budget airlines like Ryanair, Wizz Air, AirAsia, Buzz Air, yes, that's a real airline. They'll get you from point A to point B with no frills. So there's no free food, no in-flight entertainment, but you do get to fly through the air in a pressurized tube at hundreds of miles an hour, so pack a sandwich, bring a book, and see the world.
There are some important things to note with budget airlines. You need to pay close attention to your baggage allowance. While most international flights that go between different continents offer more than enough baggage allowance that's included with your ticket, most budget airlines do not. Budget airlines offer very cheap tickets, but everything else usually comes at a premium. Make sure you pay for your bag at the same time that you're booking your ticket. Don't just show up to the airport with your baggage and expect to pay for it there. The prices will be significantly higher.
We made this mistake flying with Air Asia. A bag that would have cost us $30 to add the day before online cost us over $200 to add when we arrived at the airport.
That happened during the same trip when we had missed that flight by a month. That was a really bad day.
It's also important to note that the budget airlines don't typically fly out of major airports in big cities. For example, Ryanair says they fly out of Paris, but they actually fly out of Paris Beauvoir, which is about 85 kilometers from the city center. And Barcelona is even worse. Barcelona Airport is 110 kilometers south of the actual city of Barcelona.
So while these budget flights might seem like you're saving a lot of money, you need to factor in how far away the airport is and how much it's going to cost you to get there. There are so many budget airlines around the world, and you often get the best deal when you book with them directly. They might not even show up on the search results of third-party websites.
We made a list of all the budget airlines around the world. You can find that as a free download in the description box.
Whenever you're booking a flight, you'll notice that airlines try to add on more and more things as you're going before you check out. One of those things is insurance.
But do you really need to add the airline's insurance?
If you're traveling abroad, then you probably already know that you need to get travel insurance that covers you for medical emergencies, evacuation, or inconveniences like theft or losing your baggage or trip delay.
Most airlines will give you the option to add insurance when you are booking your flight, but it's important to note that this is not a replacement for travel insurance. Be sure you know exactly what is covered by your travel insurance policy and what the airline's insurance policy covers if you choose to purchase it.
Some credit cards also offer additional insurance when you use them to book, so you can look into that as well.
Number 5. Fly to a nearby airport and book multiple legs. Fair warning, booking your flights this way means taking a lot more of the logistics of the whole thing into your own hands and could be a bit of a headache, but with proper planning, this tip could save you a lot of money.
Nailed it. No notes. If you're flying to a city that has multiple airports, then you can use Google Flights to check which airport is going to be the cheapest to fly into. But sometimes it's cheaper to fly into another city altogether.
For example, if you're planning a trip to Siem Reap, Cambodia to see the ruins of Angkor Wat, and you totally should, they're amazing, you could also look into flying into different cities like Bangkok, Thailand, or Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Both of these cities are major hubs for international and budget airlines throughout Asia. From Bangkok or Kuala Lumpur, you can book a flight directly to Siem Reap on a budget airline like AirAsia. Note that if you have a lot of luggage, this tip might not be that much more economical, but it is worth looking into.
If you go this route of booking multiple legs and flying into a different country, then make sure you've checked your visa requirements. You'll be required to go through immigration, get your bags, and then check in for your next flight. So make sure you have all those logistics covered.
Leave yourself ample time to go through the immigration process, to get your bags, and to check in for your next flight. At least 4 hours if it's another international flight.
You also need to be aware of which airport your next flight is going out of. Like we mentioned before, big cities often have multiple airports and they're usually not very close together. So just make sure that your next flight is flying out of the same airport you flew into, or that you have enough time to get to the other airport to make your next flight.
Another way to save money is you could fly into one city and out of another. It is sometimes cheaper to book 2 one-way flights than it is to book a round trip. That's because when you book a round trip ticket, you are booking with one airline, which limits your options, and it might not be the best deal. Kayak Hacker Fare is a website that can show you the cheapest fares in and out of a destination on multiple airlines.
We hope this doesn't sound too confusing, so we'll give you a real-life example of how all this works. My sister and her husband needed to make a trip from San Francisco to Mumbai, India to attend a family wedding, so they needed to go on specific dates. They started checking flight prices 6 months in advance and then every week after that. Prices never went below $1,600 per ticket, and at one point they jumped to over $2,000 a ticket. Their final destination where the wedding wasn't even in Mumbai. It was in a city called Pune, about 3 hours south of Mumbai. so they would need to take a taxi from Mumbai to Pune, which was going to be another $50 at least. They were looking at spending over $4,100 just on transportation to get to this wedding. On a whim, they decided to check the flight prices into New Delhi instead. Those flights were only $1,000. They booked them immediately, then they booked direct flights from New Delhi to Pune on SpiceJet, which is a budget Indian airline, and those flights were only $120 round trip. In the end, they only spent about $2,200 flying from San Francisco to New Delhi to Pune and back. Although their overall transit time was a bit longer, saving over $2,000 on flights was well worth it. So keep this option in mind, it could save you big money.
Number 6. Fly at odd hours or with a long layover. A long layover can even be an advantage if it's long enough for you to leave the airport and a chance to explore the city. For example, Seoul International Airport in South Korea offers free city tours if your layover is over 8 hours and during certain times of the day.
You might even consider doing a stopover, which is a layover that lasts over 24 hours and can even last for several days. The benefit of doing a stopover is that you'll get to spend time in another destination, kind of like a bonus trip, but it doesn't cost you anything extra in flight tickets. Some airlines offer stopovers in their hub cities for no additional cost, such as Hawaiian Airlines, Iceland Air, Emirates, Turkish Airlines, Japan Airlines, Iberia, and Air Canada.
Wow. Be careful with this option because even if you score a great deal on a cheap flight, it may be leaving very early or very late, which will limit your options on transportation to or from the airport. So you might end up having to spend a lot of money on a taxi to get there, which will negate all of the money you saved on your cheap ticket.
Just another money-saving tip, we always travel with our 32-ounce bottles everywhere we go, and that way we can fill up on water in the airport. Most airports do have potable water.
Stay hydrated.
Tip number 7, book at least 3 to 6 months out.
If your travel dates are not flexible and you have somewhere you need to be on specific dates, try to book your flights at least 3 to 6 months in advance. Prices usually increase 3 months before the flight time and just keep going up after that.
Sometimes you can get lucky and find cheap flights at the last minute, but don't count on that. Do yourself a favor and start checking flight prices early. You can even set flight alerts on websites like Airfare Watchdog and Skyscanner, which will alert you when prices drop for the flights that you're looking for.
Number 8, search on multiple flight search platforms and the airline's website.
These are the websites we usually look at when searching for cheap flights. Once you find a flight and a price you're happy with, we recommend also looking directly on the airline's website. Sometimes flights are less expensive when you book directly with the airline.
Number 9, search secretly in an incognito window or with a VPN. When you are ready to book your flight, make sure to search in an incognito window. This is a privacy window that will disable history and cookies from any of your previous searches.
They're always watching. Most flight search engines use cookies to remember what flights you've been searching, and then when you go to look again later, they've increased the price. So using an incognito window is like starting fresh every time you do a search.
You could also use a VPN to tell the website that you are searching from a different country. We use NordVPN, but there are a lot of great VPNs out there. Some airlines will give you a lower price if they think you are from somewhere else, so play around with different countries to see if you can get a better price.
Number 10, credit card miles.
Before we keep going with the credit card perks, it's very important to mention that you should only use this hack if you could pay off your credit card in full every single month. If you're accruing debt for miles, that's dumb. Don't do that.
Any savings that you're going to get from these miles are going to be totally negated by the extra money you have to pay in interest, so it's not worth it. Make sure you can pay your cards off in full every month if you're going to use credit cards for miles.
We take 1 or 2 free flights every year using our credit card miles.
There are so many credit cards out there that offer great perks for travelers. The best credit cards that we've used are American Express, Chase Sapphire, and Capital One.
These credit cards offer sign-up bonuses that can help you rack up miles quickly. To get the bonus sign-up miles, you typically need to spend a certain amount of money in a certain amount of time. For example, you need to spend $3,000 on the credit card within the first 3 months to get 40,000 miles.
The number of airline miles you get for these sign-up bonuses varies between cards, but it's usually enough to cover 1 leg of a long-haul flight or 2 shorter flights.
If you're able to use your credit card frequently and responsibly, then you can rack up those credit card miles very, very quickly. Some credit cards even offer bonus miles on certain purchases, like at restaurants or gas or groceries. Every card is different, so make sure to check what you're getting that extra miles for.
Some credit card companies offer bonus miles if your friends sign up through your referral link. If you share these credit card offers with friends you think might benefit from them, then you get even more miles, so it's a win-win for everyone. Also, be sure to check if a credit card you sign up for has an annual fee. We often cancel or downgrade credit cards after the first year if they have an annual fee, and that's because we find that for us, the perks usually aren't worth it. Some credit cards do offer things like priority boarding or lounge passes, so you can look into what the credit cards you get offer and see if it seems worth it to you to pay the annual fee.
We are by no means experts on credit card travel hacking, but we have been able to use our credit cards to get many free and discounted flights over the years. We're currently learning more about credit card travel hacking, and we'll share more about that in the future.
We hope you learned something new in this video. Let us know which of these 10 tips was the most useful for you.
And let us know where are you traveling to next in the comments.
If you like this video, please be sure to subscribe and click the like button. It really helps support our channel.
Now, check out this video about travel insurance.
Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye-bye.